started and continue with our agenda. So next, what we want to talk about is our newest department here at MJC. And so my name again is Angelica Guzman, and I'm the Dean of Enrollment Services. And one of the areas that I oversee is what MJC is calling outreach and community partnerships. So for a long time, we had our access and outreach team, and we had dual enrollment. And a lot of those services are similar. We come to your high schools and provide services. You have maybe your ninth graders going on in their education. They start participating in dual enrollment and maybe eventually become a first-time student at MJC. And a lot of the things that they experience and go through are similar. And so we've been talking a lot at the college with new leadership on how do we deliver services to the high school, how do we increase and enhance the capacity that we have to provide services and work with the students in the community. And so I want to take a quick second to introduce to you our newest team that is Outreach and Community Partnerships. And so the combination of this department is our previously known Access and Outreach team and dual enrollment. And so earlier this year we started announcing some changes that the dual enrollment team was moving from under what we would refer to as our instruction side of the house, under the student services umbrella. And so I'm going to take a quick second. I'm just going to ask my team to wave their hands, and everything that you see here today is as a result of their hard work. So we have Amanda Coffin, Santiago Vina, Nicole Herrera, Patricia Moran, Christy Bethel, and then Jose Padilla, who unfortunately is not feeling well and he's not able to be with us today, but he sends his regards. So this is our newest department, Outreach and Community Partnerships. And the idea is that we provide all of the same services to you out at the high schools in particular. So we're trying to link the efforts that the outreach department was doing along with dual enrollment, because we all know that students have to start with the CCC Apply application. And in a little bit, the Director of Admissions and Records will talk to you about the application. But it's, again, how can we bridge that gap and bring those services together? We want to be able to deliver orientation to your students, educational planning, and then support your students through the registration process. So again, in a few minutes when our Director of A&R comes up, she'll also talk about the registration process. But the idea is that this one department delivers those services to you and to your students. And so what we'd like to do is work together as one team. And there's a lot of counselors in the room, career navigators, learning directors, and you each serve a different role and purpose at your high school. And we know that, we see that, and we appreciate that. And so what we're trying to do is work with you, come alongside you, and provide you a team to support all of your students, okay? And so let's talk a little bit about time frames. So I have a grid here to try and help me keep organized and have something that we can follow. But in your packet, I want to take a couple minutes to talk about this matriculation cycle or a student life cycle. Okay, do we all have, everyone have a program? If you don't, please let us know so that we can get a program in your hands. Can we get a couple programs? Omar, I see you in the back. Can you help me grab some programs? Thank you. Okay. Omar, one of our amazing student workers in the back, he has a program, so if you don't have one, just go ahead and raise your hand and he'll bring that right over to you. Okay, so bringing these two teams under one umbrella and being able to provide those services, we want to be able to deliver to you what we're referring to as our matriculation cycle or the student life cycle. And so this is to serve your new students coming to MJC, so then those graduating seniors, and then your dual enrollment students. So I think every high school maybe has a different dual enrollment population. Some start at 9th grade, others maybe only sophomores and juniors and seniors, so it depends. But the goal is that when we schedule workshops with you and the team comes out to your high school, we're there to serve everybody. So we're not going to differentiate between, only dual enrollment or only graduating seniors, we're there to provide all of the services. So when you got here this morning, and again at the end, we'll have an opportunity to schedule some workshops. But what we'd like to do is kick off the fall semester, or MJC's fall semester, your fall term when students come back after summer and resume classes, is that October to December timeframe, being able to provide application workshops. So then for your graduating seniors, we want to be able to deliver application workshops, and your new participating dual enrollment students, so if you have a population of students that are joining dual enrollment for the first time, we want to be able to deliver an application workshop to them as well. So what we'll do is coordinate and work with you to schedule a time to come out to your high school and be able to provide that application workshop. You decide how you want to filter your students through. Maybe period 1 is seniors, second period is dual enrollment, flip-flop, bring them all together. It really depends on your space, your capacity, the time that you have, to allow us to come onto your campus. But we want to be able to bring those services together. So I think in the past they were separated and the timeframes happened differently. And so then the idea is that we bring everyone alongside together so that we can follow some particular timeframes so that we can guarantee that your students get registered into classes along with your dual enrollment students, okay? So if we're following this student life cycle, we're going to start with applications and then high school petitions. So everybody knows the dual enrollment student has to do that special part-time petition. They need parent and high school permission to enroll. I realize that sometimes that can be a cumbersome process, right? Every high school handles it a little bit differently. I know Madison City Schools has a platform where the petition kind of routes it, and then other high schools or other students are responsible for making sure that that form doesn't get lost, and then it gets signed and then returned back. And so if we can work with you to start that process in October, November, then we will be in good shape to help your students register in the spring for summer and fall classes. So if we're following this student life cycle, we have some dates on here, benchmarks for us to try and reach and achieve so that we can ensure that we're delivering good customer service. Because what we're trying to avoid is at the last minute. So we wouldn't want to wait until April to do high school petitions to register for fall classes, because fall registration for us starts every May. So then April, we're losing our runway and that amount of time. So then it becomes rushed, things get lost in translation, then it gets really busy, and then we're not able to provide you that good customer service by responding in a timely manner. So this is a goal that we want to work towards. The timeframes that we have on here are not hard and fast deadlines where we're going to say, oh, you know what, if you don't get your petition in by March 31st, we can't help you. No, but these are goals that we want to work towards, okay? So before we move on from the October to December timeframe, something that I wanted to point out, coming up for spring 23 registration, so we're kind of working like a year in advance with some of these things. Our spring term starts in January. Registration here at MJC starts at the very end of October. So that means sometime in November, your dual enrollment students will be registering for their dual enrollment classes. And so something that I want to propose, and right now I have a date on there of October 10th, that feels really soon, and I realize that, but if we can think towards the future and we follow this time frame, then this date of October is really doable for us to help your students finish the process so that come October, their application is done, their high school petition is processed, and then we can come out and help your students register, and then we'll be good to go, okay? And then another thing that we want to be able to focus on in that every fall semester is the high schools that have heavy high school articulation. So we have a lot of articulation agreements with the high school. We sent out a survey a few weeks ago to collect some questions to answer at the end, like a Q&A. So one of the items was articulation. So we'll talk about that more in depth later. But students have to request to participate to receive their 2+2 credit, the transitions credit, right, for the high school articulation. And so we want to start that process with you again in the fall semester. So if you have students that are maybe taking a class in the spring, if we're coming out to, I'll use Turlock as an example, in November, then we want to help your seniors that are going to be graduating. We want to support your dual enrollment students that need to start the process. And then we want to do the application workshop at the same time for maybe that summer population that just does the 2+2, the high school articulation. And so, we'll work together, we'll improve and see how this goes, but I'm hoping that if we can meet these timeframes, then the ultimate goal is that we're able to come through with everything that we're saying that we're offering to you. That we can ensure that your students have the ability to register, they have access to the classes, and they get that priority in those dual enrollment classes. And then also your graduating seniors, okay? So then moving forward into January, March, the quote-unquote springtime. So during this time, what we would like to do is deliver educational planning and orientation to your graduating seniors. And so here at MJC, to receive priority registration, they need an ed plan and orientation, okay? Along with that English and math placement, and again, our Director Faye and I will talk about this in a few minutes, but all of your graduating students, they receive a placement when they submit the application. So we no longer have a placement test, and simply reporting their high school information produces a placement result. So that step is immediately completed for them, okay? So then if we're able to offer that in the spring, the idea is that we have high school days here on the MJC campus. So if we can work with you to bring your students to MJC, we have an increased capacity with our labs and sites here on campus to bring a large population of your students here. So, maybe not every high school has 200 students coming to MJC, but maybe we can coordinate and buddy up some high schools that have like 50 and 60 or 20, 30, 50, whatever the numbers are, and bring your students on campus, provide the service, but make a fun day out of it. And so we would like to deliver tours, students receive their ID cards, and provide just some other fun services that your students can engage in and feel that sense of belonging and make that connection with the campus so that they feel like MJC is a place for them, okay? And so moving forward into the summer, we'd like to host new student days. So in your program, you have dates already for next summer for our new student days, April 1st and May 20th. These are days where we want to ensure that your students register. So registration for us starts early May with our continuing students. So then based on when we're hosting new student days, that ensures that your students that come to that event, they get to register for classes. They come to new student day, they be registered, okay? And that the same applies for dual enrollment students. So in the past, we've treated new student day as a primarily new student event. If you're a graduating senior, a returning student, adult student, but we weren't serving our dual enrollment students to the best of our ability by providing those wraparound services. So then, the idea is that we bring all of those things together and we don't leave anybody out, because everyone has to apply, everyone has to use the same platform to register here for classes at MJC, so then we want to be able to provide those resources to you, okay? So then continuing on and wrapping up our life cycle is the fallish term again, September. And so this last year we hosted, or not this last year, this will be last week, this last week we hosted for the first time an event that we called Welcome Day. And so Welcome Day was for all new and returning students. We were trying to provide an opportunity for students to re-engage, reconnect, belong to the campus. And so on Welcome Day, we invited vendors and resources from the community to come onto the MJC campus. We had a resource fair, food, giveaways, all of our schools that Belen had talked about were there as well. We had additional activities with students, again, so that they can make that connection to their schools and MJC. So then the idea is, if we follow this life cycle and we continue to stay on this plan, introduce those services in a timely manner and introduce them to their schools in a timely manner, then every fall they would kick off with MJC with Welcome Day or Welcome Week. And so we had around 1,300 students join us on that one day, and so we are already thinking about how can we expand this and make this bigger and better for next year and not leave out our high school students or our high school partners, because we know that when we host things during the business day, students are in class. So we want to be able to offer things during Welcome Week that are specific to you and your students and their parents and their families, okay? All right, any questions about the student life cycle before we continue? Does it sound doable? Yes? Okay, I see a lot of head nods, thank you. All right, so let's go ahead and continue. So we talked a little bit about this already, our timelines and next steps. We will be preparing to send out some reminders. So another thing that the outreach and community partnership team is working on is a newsletter or updates to send out. So as these deadlines are created each new year, we want to be able to send out a reminder, send out this information to you. When it comes time for students to do their requests to participate for the high school articulation, we want to prepare a nice notification and send those out and send those reminders just so that we can all be on the same page with dates and deadlines and all those timelines. Okay, so that brings me to the end of my presentation. Yes? Yes, great question, thank you. She reminded me. So also in your agenda, and it's included in our student life cycle, are our dates for steps to start. And so we realize that maybe not all students will be able to participate during the day, depending on their schedule and classes and how many students that you might have. We know that students might be sick that day. So we are going to be offering on an ongoing basis during the fall semester and the spring what we call steps to start. And so then we'll ensure that we're delivering those application workshops either in person or Zoom, and we're going to look at how the participation is and pivot from there to make sure that we're meeting the need. But we'll continue to offer workshops throughout the fall semester. So in the event that your students are not able to participate when we come out to your high school, then they would have an alternative opportunity in the evening. Great question. And then those dates are set. So soon after this, we'll be sending out that information as well so that you can have that. In the beginning when we were doing check-in, I think some of you met with the team in the back to start scheduling dates for the fall. And so what we'll do is take all that information, define the date, schedule out, and then we'll be sending confirmations and reaching out to you so that we can set up the logistics for the fall workshops. And then similarly, the same thing in the spring. For our high school days on campus, we'll set up meetings and schedule with you to talk about what days might work for you to bring your students onto campus so that we can deliver those services, okay?
For a digital copy of this sent to us?
Yes.
You know, when we're looking at October the 12th, the first one that you guys are going to be.
We should be able to get that out in about a week or so. So the websites are being updated right now. It's just a matter of getting organized and sending that information out, but it'll come out shortly. Yes, yep, absolutely. And it'll be on the website as well, and the students will be able to sign up online. And yeah, go ahead, Jen.
With the new timeline and the process for dual enrollment, will there be recruitment events hosted by MJC for dual enrollment?
Do you mean like?
Are you going to recruit students for dual enrollment? Like, so typically we send out, we tell kids, hey, you want to do it, this is what there is. Are you going to come and provide opportunities for children to learn about what dual enrollment opportunities are available from MJC rather than us doing the promotion?
Yes, we can. So I think something that we need to consider is how are we also delivering that information for your first-time seniors as well. So then we would revisit that whole process and buddy up all that information together. Yep, thank you. Okay, any other questions before I pass it on to my colleague?